Kicking off the list at number 10, Midnight Snack. This one was pretty recent. It was from December 2020. It was uploaded to the wonderful world of Reddit by a user named Oopsie Poopy Man, which is a great name. I would have taken that as well. The photo, at first, I didn't see anything. I had to turn my brightness up, so I suggest that you do the same. But in the meantime, I'll read you the caption for this photo. They say, after hearing taps and noises from my kitchen, I take a photo and I see this. That's pretty scary. Maybe it's the Jabberwockies and they're gonna do a flash mob in your kitchen. That's what it appears to be. Or maybe, as the several other thousand people have commented, you should leave the house right away. That's terrifying. Also, the taps and stuff, being in Canada, I would assume that's raccoons, but that's much more scary than raccoons. Actually, it's pretty close. 5 raccoons versus 1 demon. I'm like, it's a lot of hands, a lot of grabbing. Is this a real ghost photo or is this a hoax? I zoomed in on the photo once and honestly, that was enough for me. You can go check it out yourself if you want. I'm done with this one. Number 9, photobomb. We have to include the work of William Hope in a list of spirit photography. He was the paranormal pioneer. In 1920, he took a photo of a couple and in the background, this one's also a little tricky to see, but if you zoom in, you can see a really tall woman floating in between the two. Yeah, this one's really out there, so I'm not really sure I'm buying it, but also there's something to it that gives me the creeps still. It's like she's missing her head almost, like the silhouette doesn't have a head, but you can clearly see her face in the middle of the body, like near the chest. It's intriguing either way, but one way or another, it's not easy to tamper with photos. Today, you can easily fake this photo of a demon or monster or whatever, but back in the 1920s, I don't know, could you do this? Get out of town. Cameras back then were like fire hazards. I'm not buying it. That's for sure a demon. Number 8, the Brown Lady of Raynham Hall. This one is a classic. If you haven't seen this photo, it's gonna live rent-free in your head, that's for sure, from here on out. This tale kicked off back in 1936 after a photo went around Country Life magazine. The photo shows the spirit wearing a brown gown, hence where her name comes from. Not the most creative of nicknames. They're just like, that's what it looks like. That's what we'll call it. Okay, demonology. Just the thing you want to see when you come home. Just a ghost floating on your staircase after a long night. We love it. Legend has it the ghost is that of Dorothy Townshend. She was the sister of Robert Walpole, who was the first Prime Minister of Britain back in 1676. A little bit of history there. Some reports say that the image is a result of long exposure gone wrong, but either way, I don't like looking at this photo. Let's move on again. Number 7, the Shining Hotel Spirit. It appears to be a spirit or a demon, ghost, apparition, something black-haired and scary looking, I don't know, just floating through the hallways. Why do I get the scary videos, man? I can't go through this and zoom in. Like my heart, I can't take these. I can't, why are we doing this? If there's a part 3, I'm quitting. The room was of course empty at the time the photo was taken, and I believe that, because there's no way you can just snap a random photo of just a random child. I don't know, you're gonna probably go to jail if you try that. Don't do that. And then if you try and say, oh, I was looking for a ghost, that's not a good excuse. You're gonna get kicked out for sure. You gotta go where no one else is. That's the whole point of getting a ghost photo. When confronted about the photo, Nosling ensured that he doesn't even know how to use his cell phone, let alone Photoshop. That I kind of believe. What do you guys think? This one's a little convincing, dare I say. Number 6, floating hand. This one is so scary. Okay, another photo from over 100 years ago. This time, the photographer may or may not have caught a floating demon hand. Yeah, that's where we're at now. Part 2, we love it. I'll show you the photo. You let me know if you see anything at first. Here we go. Okay, take a good look. Anything just sticking out, poking out, anything weird? This photo is a group of women who worked in a linen factory, and the lady on the far right has an extra hand. This one's resting on her shoulder. This may be a hidden person. Maybe somebody with long arms was out of frame. I'm a lanky dude, I get it. I can put my arms around like 9 of my closest friends. Look at this, I'm out of frame for both these hands. That's nuts. But it's the positioning of the hand that gives me the chills. It looks curled almost, which gives me like a demonic, insidious, the last key vibes. I don't like it. Let's move on. Number 5, the Spectre of Newby Church. This one comes from 1963, so it's a little more recent, but even so, this is one of the most convincing ones on this list. In my humble opinion, I haven't seen any ghosts or anything. Reverend K.F. Lord took this photo in Newby Church in England, and Lord ensures us that this photo is 100% real. He didn't tamper it. Anyone named Lord doesn't lie about things. That's just facts. To be fair, it looks like the spirit is facing the camera, like it's a pretty good frame. It looks definitely fake. The whole Plague Doctor vibe vibes going on though. That's what makes me feel sick in this whole situation. Anything with plague doctors has always given me the creeps. I don't like it. I worked at an amusement park and their Halloween haunt month thing, and I was assigned as a plague doctor, and I couldn't even look in the mirror. Also, for sure, I wouldn't have just faced a photo if someone's taken. I would have done like a creepy move. This is too normal. I don't know. But the fact that it's normal makes it kind of believable. The figure seems to be standing on the first step to the altar, yet somehow is still taller than the altar itself. We think by this photo it's about 9 feet tall. Whoever faked this, if that is the case, must have been on stilts. Also, stilts and a sheet over your face on a staircase, that's just impressive either way, honestly. Number 4, the background demon. Another piece of work from William Hope, this one even creepier than the last. The face of this demonic woman appears to be floating above the lady on the right of this photo. Again, these are from the 1920s, and the only hint as to who or what was in these photographs was written on the back. Yeah, something's written on the back of this photo, that's how you know it's real. The message reads, "Why is the child always pushing to the front?" which is a very creepy question. And the message below it also reads, "Do we get messages from the higher spirits?" Okay, 2 creepy questions written on the back of a creepy 1920s photo. Is this what you wanted? Because I didn't want to see this, but now I had to, and it's gonna be here, and now you'll be fine. You're gonna keep scrolling through YouTube. I'm gonna go to bed over there and be afraid. Hit that thumbs up. I don't know, maybe I'll be able to sleep. It'll definitely help. Number 3, nursing home spirit. Okay, we're in the final 3, so it's time to get real. This photo was taken from a nursing home resident the same night another resident had passed away. This was back in 2015, and that night they heard a door open and close, but at this hour there were no visitors there at the time. For sure, no one was there. There was logins, all that jazz. No one could just waltz in, or walk in for that matter. So there's also a great amount of people who think that this image here is one of 2 things. The spirit of the resident that passed away, or the Grim Reaper. Yeah, the door opening and closing, people think that was the Grim Reaper coming in. How scary is that? A few comments were saying how it's comforting to know that in the end you aren't alone. Yeah, you know, I'm not gonna lie, I'd rather die alone than have this dude break into my home at 4 a.m. and then just walk me to the living room where I'm gonna die. I don't know. I'm all set. Number 2, window spirit. Personal trainer Tony Ferguson was filming a castle in England, as most personal trainers do, but when the 33-year-old looked back on that footage, he thought that he'd missed out on a prank. He couldn't believe what he was looking at. Check it out. This was at Hearst Castle in Hampshire. He also recalls that nobody could have been moving around in that space. It was very petite. This wasn't the first time the spirit also had made its presence known though. The time before, Tony Ferguson said that it was this white mist, but this time it actually had energy to form. Yeah, whenever something has energy to form, that's how you know you're messing with some real I was asking it to show itself, and this white mist flew straight at my camera. I mean, this time around, he got footage of the actual thing moving around, so whenever it's happening, it's getting more friendly or it's getting more comfortable. Either way, I'm never going to this castle, and neither should you. What are your thoughts? Is this convincing or is this fake? And last but not least, number 1, the house guest. Okay, I saved the best for last, and by that I mean this is the scariest video I've ever seen. Let's do it. This comes from a middle-aged man in Oxford, North Carolina. It was his only day off work. He was looking forward to just kicking back and relaxing, but instead, the lights started to flicker in his house, and immediately after, the smoke detector started going off. The fridge, the bathroom, all these lights were going off, you name it. The water even started to run by itself. He filmed the footage, you know, while he was fleeing his home on his only day off, and while he was looking back on the footage later on, he saw this. Pretty terrifying, right? I know, I had to look at it and now it's gonna be stuck in your head.
Coming in at number 10, we have a demon watching a baby. Hi there, demon. What are you doing watching this baby? You're a creep. An Imgur user posted this picture of a baby ultrasound and it caused some waves on the internet. They posted the image with the caption, "A friend's ultrasound. When you see it, ... The image got 931 upvotes and was seen nearly 12,000 times. Can you guys see it? That's right, look in on the right. Maybe we can get a little bit of zoom here. Hello to you, womb demon. Womb demon, 2 words I didn't think I was gonna say today. This womb demon looks pretty breast-delicious, so we can only assume it's a lady demon. What she wants with this baby, we don't know. Other people are saying this image looks more like a Hindu goddess than a demon. One commenter wrote, "I'm seeing a friendly mermaid. Everyone else is seeing a demon. We're all weird." That's very, very true. We are crazy. What do you guys see? Demon, mermaid, Hindu goddess? Let me know. We have another one from social media at number 9. We have the Wisconsin trail camera demon. This image was posted on Reddit in December 2012 and got 1.1 thousand upvotes. The picture is allegedly a trail cam image from a trail in Wisconsin. For those of you that don't know that much about trail cameras, they're motion-censored cameras that capture footage if an animal walks by. They're usually used by wildlife enthusiasts to pick up on close images of things like bears or moose or deer. Anyway, this trail cam pic picked up an entirely different animal. In fact, some people are saying it's not an animal at all. They're saying it's a demon. It definitely looks like a ghost, and I don't know, it's somewhat tormented. I don't fancy hanging out with this ghoul. It needs to stay far away from my campsite. Demon or witch at number 8, you decide. We have some police dashcam footage here. Now this video comes from the Azusa Police Department of Canyon City. Police officer Malik is driving down a nondescript Californian road at 3 a.m. when they come across a woman who has started a fire. There's no real explanation as to what is going on here. The woman stood in the middle of a fire circle and we can't see her face, which leaves you to believe she's either a witch or a demon. Basically, she's some combination of pure evil. Even if she isn't a demon, I bet she's summoning one. Coming in at number 7, we have El Chupacabra. Is it a wild dog? Is it a chupacabra? A chupacabra is a legendary creature in folklore, a blood-sucking animal vampire that we're gonna call a demon for the purpose of this video. The legend of El Chupacabra is most popular in Puerto Rico. It also has spread to northern Mexico and the southern states of the United States, especially Texas. This demon was caught on police dashcam and the officer involved in the incident was totally vexed. The footage was taken in 2008 and has caused a debate ever since. Now the video description reads, a police dashboard camera catches what some people might think is proof of the legendary Chupacabra. Is it proof that he lives and roams in the fields of the Lone Star State? I don't know. Now this animal was seen running down a dirt path along fence lines in a rural Texas road. Honestly, to me, it does look like just kind of a wild dog, maybe a coyote, more so than it does a demon, but some people are refusing to budge on it being El Chupacabra. Coming in at number 6, we have the Balinese Flame Demon. In 2016, Bali experienced some very dry weather that led to a number of fires. Following a fire at Padang Beach and at the Pasar Badang Market, the oldest market in Bali, another devastating fire hit Canggu. An image of the local 5 surf school in Batu Bolong was shared on social media. While luckily nobody was hurt in the fire, some eagle-eyed social media users saw something very unsettling in the flames. One of the commenters pointed out that the shape of the flames looked like Ugu Ugu, a demon statue that are used for festivals in Neopi. In Balinese culture, these statues represent spiritual pollutants emitted from the activities of human beings. And these statues are used in a parade and then burnt at the end as a process of purification. There is a really strange and sad irony in the face of a demon that represents human malice appearing in a fire, especially when these demon effigies are usually burned to rid Bali of evil. Coming in at number 5, we have a genie. This picture is from an Islamic website that documents supernatural occurrences and discusses early Arabian and Islamic mythology. This is reportedly a jinn, a ghost or a genie, that lives in the Hira cave. The creature was only seen after the photo was developed. Now, according to some sources, some Islamic news publications went wild for the picture, saying bad luck befell the photographer. Some even said that he dropped dead. In Islamic faith, magic is prohibited and considered an evil perversion of Allah. What is this genie demon doing in a cave? We just don't know. Is this a Dementor at number 4? You let me know. So I love Harry Potter so much. I even have my own Harry Potter YouTube channel. I'm a Slytherin for those wondering. And whilst I may be a darker witch, I'm still not on board with a Dementor. Would we call a Dementor a demon? Yeah, I think we would. It's a demon that sucks out your soul, which is actually probably my least favorite kind. Either way, it seems a demonic-looking figure is spotted over the city of Kitwe in Zimbabwe, and to me, it looks like a descending Dementor looking for a kiss. The mysterious cloud formation looked to be about 100 meters long and loomed over a shopping center in the city for around 30 minutes. Eyewitnesses said some started worshipping the mist, thinking it was a manifestation of God, while others ran away. I think I would crack out my Patronus and hope for the best. Can you guess what mine is? Let me know in the comments section down below. Coming into number 3, we have the Phoenix New Year Nightmare. On New Year's Day of 2017, Facebook user Richard Christensen spotted a demon lurking in his Arizona hood. He shared the pictures to the social media site with the caption, "What the hell do you see in this picture for reals? Anybody?" The image quickly went viral, garnering over 100,000 shares. The picture appears to show a winged demon, perhaps a Mothman, standing in a residential street. Some people were brandishing it a soldier of Satan. Either way, national news publications picked up on the story and people were pretty freaked out. Some people say it's just a palm tree, others are convinced it's a demonic presence lurking in the southern states of the USA. Coming into number 2, we have 9/11 smoke demons. While we're led to believe that the world can change irrevocably at something so small as the flicker of butterfly wings, there are days in the history books where we can pinpoint events that change the course of humanity forever. One of those days is September the 11th, 2001, or 9/11. On this day, 2 hijacked planes flew into the World Trade Center Twin Towers, another into the Pentagon, and another crashed into a field. Nearing 3,000 people lost their lives, and thousands, if not millions more, had the course of their future altered. The worst terror attack on US soil was undoubtedly an act of evil, but some people even say they saw the face of evil in the smoke that billowed from the devastating fires that took down the buildings in Manhattan. Look for yourself. Did the many cameras pointing at the World Trade Center capture a demon? Is it the face of the devil himself? Let me know what you think. Okay, I've picked number 1 because actually it is so dramatic and caused some serious waves during its day. This was a televised event. Coming in to number 1, we have ABC's 2020 exorcism. This one is so much to deal with. In April 1991, 29 million people tuned in to ABC's 2020, a controversial episode hosted by Barbara Walters that asked if demons were real. What made headlines about this episode was that it televised a real-life exorcism. In the episode, we see Catholic priest Father LeBear exorcise demons from a young girl named Gina. Honestly, she's off the charts in this video. She is screaming, she is being cray, she thinks she's actually possessed. The girl seems to switch wildly between different personalities. Her voice is strained and demonic, and the clergyman identifies 2 demons within her, Minga and Zion. Her parents surround her and pray for her recovery. Now, before she's exorcised, she drinks holy water and vomits. This is just very shocking viewing for the 90s. The exorcism spanned 6 hours, and afterwards Father LeBear believed that he cured her of a serious demonic oppression. Others think that she was just mentally ill, and to be honest, I don't know if she was. This was some serious schizophrenia. Either way, following the exorcism, she seemed to be cured.
Starting off this list in our number 10 spot, we have a Mexico circus demon. This demon story takes place in Mexico in 1942 and is a son recounting his father's story from when he was 20 years old. The father and his younger brother went to check out the circus that had just arrived in town. They were most excited to see the freak shows, but after checking them out for a while, there wasn't really anything that was piquing their interest. They met a couple girls and they were about to go check out some music when a man wearing a dinner jacket came up and started talking to them. He said he was the greatest illusionist in the world and that he could show them a trick both scary and amazing. He also said that he wasn't actually part of the circus and that he had auditioned, but they said his act was so frightening they couldn't allow him in the circus. The father and his brother were both very intrigued now and asked to see the trick, and the man said he could only show them if they came to his trailer, which wasn't too far away. In 2021, we know that you never go to a stranger's trailer, but they all followed the man in this story. Once at the trailer, the man begins his trick. He holds up his right hand and then puts a white glove on it. He then waves his left hand around his right, wiggling his right fingers and chanting some words that the guys didn't understand. He then asks if they're ready. The guys reply yes, and the man pulls the white glove off of his hand, revealing his hand as only a skeleton. The man even went as far as to grab the father's head with his skeleton hand to prove it was real. The boys, of course, got out of there as quickly as possible. In our number 9 spot today, we have the Demon on the Veranda story. Before I dive into this one, guys, please don't forget to hit the thumbs up button if you're enjoying the video so far, because it really helps us out. This story takes place in a small village in India when the storyteller was 16 years old and living in a boarding school. All the girls slept in a big hall, and one night, one of the other girls, named Malty, woke her up around 1 a.m. as Malty wasn't feeling too well. She goes to get some water and went outside on the veranda with Malty to try and help her feel better as she was feeling very nauseous. She looked to the right and saw the far end of the veranda, and there was only one light, and the rest of the light was all coming from the moon. After a while of comforting Malty, she looked up to the right again and saw a kind of cat-like figure, but after a closer look, This cat had the head of a human and was bald with big eyes. She tried to convince herself that her eyes were deceiving her, but it began getting closer and she could see it more clearly. She was frozen with fear, and by the time this creature was around 10 meters away from her, it let out a meow sound that absolutely terrified her. She screamed, grabbed Malty, and got both of them back into the hall where everyone was still sleeping. This of course woke everyone up though, and the warden came over to see what all the commotion was about. She asked the warden not to make any loud sounds and begged her not to open the door. Everyone in the hallway looked outside and saw this shadowy creature moving before it just disappeared. To this day, she still isn't exactly sure what she saw, but she's glad she has never encountered it again. In our number 8 spot today, we have this sleep paralysis demon. This story comes from the Reddit user JStation666, and this is what they had to say about their demon encounter. I was laying in bed and fell asleep, and I woke up not being able to move or scream. I tried my best and it went on for about 5 minutes. It stopped, but after that I felt hands around my throat trying to choke me. I look up and all I see is a very tall black outline of a figure with flaming hair, and I could feel its long finger-like claws around my neck. The next morning I get up and there's red marks around my neck of what looks like very large hands. Sadly, I didn't take a picture when I should have, but after it's hard for me to get to sleep in a dark room. I feel like I would have thought this was just a scary case of sleep paralysis, but the waking up with hand marks around their throat truly is very scary and kind of unexplainable. I am glad that they made it through this frightening situation. In our number 7 spot today, we have this eye-changing demon. This story comes from the Reddit user Katzabar from a time when they were around 11 or 12 years old. He starts off with explaining that they moved apartments a lot growing up, and no matter where they went, entities would always find him, and he also tells us that he had bright blue eyes like his mother's, which will be important later. They moved into a new apartment and things immediately began to go poorly. He had a dream where he was in a bright white room and there was a beast on the ceiling that looked into his eyes and roared. The roar obviously frightened him and he woke up screaming, which of course woke up his mother, who rushed to his side. His mother was also very frightened, not only because she woke up to the sound of her son screaming, but because his scream did not sound like a little boy's, but was like the scream of a grown man. If this whole situation wasn't already strange enough, after this dream, his eyes turned from that bright blue color to a hazel color and have never changed back to blue. If that really is true, I have no idea how that happened, and that is honestly pretty crazy. In our number 6 spot today, we have this gray skin demon. This story comes from Pink Magic 724 on Reddit and is about a night they had a few years ago while still in college. Pink Magic's best friend of many years was in town, so they went out for a dinner to catch up and spend some time together. They, of course, end up getting a bit caught up, as best friends do, and before they know it, it is around 2 a.m. and definitely time for them to head home. Pink Magic's friend was the one who drove, so they headed off to Pink Magic's house. They're at an intersection waiting for the light to turn green when Pink Magic turns their head and looks out the window into the car next to them. This is when she sees the person next to them is looking directly at them, but they have gray skin, completely black eyes with no white, and they are smiling, but their teeth are long and sharp. Whoever or whatever this thing is, it will not break eye contact. Pink Magic tries to scream, but no sound will come out, and eventually the friend sees the creature too and immediately speeds out of there. To this day, neither of them like to talk about it, and neither of them are quite sure what exactly they witnessed. In our number 5 spot today, we have this demon in your mind. This story comes from Sylvie on Reddit and starts off a few years ago after an argument with a friend. This friend was really upset, so Sylvie went to bed, definitely not feeling great about what had just happened and Sylvie's behavior that led to this argument. About halfway through the night, Sylvie thinks that they had a dream, but they can't for sure say because they remember it so clearly. Sylvie woke up and had a knife in their hand, and their room was illuminated by the moonlight. As they looked around the room, they saw on the wall some words that looked like they were written in blood. Sylvie looked around the room again when something caught her eye. There was some sort of creature in the dark corner of the room that looked like one of those deep sea fish with the scary eyes and the really sharp teeth. I think they're called anglerfish. As soon as Sylvie saw this creature, the moonlight in the room changed to a flashing orange light, and this is when Sylvie definitely woke up in a cold sweat. Sylvie chalked it up to just a really scary dream and went and got ready for school and went about their day, but they just could not shake this feeling. After the first period was over, Sylvie was feeling really anxious and they reached up to the cross necklace they were wearing when a voice spoke in their head. The voice said, "God won't save you." Sylvie said that they had a few more incidents with this demon, but after firmly telling it to leave and using their religion and faith as a guide and a protection, they have luckily been demon-free ever since. In our number 4 spot today, we have the demon in the basement. This story comes from the Reddit user DreamGuy72 and starts off in his first apartment in the summer of 1992 in Casper, Wyoming on none other than Elm Street. The apartment was a basement suite where Dreamguy and his boyfriend lived, and their friends occupied the main floor suite above them. One day, Dreamguy was home alone and was repainting the main bedroom when he decided to take a break. After he had a drink, he headed back into the main bedroom, but this is when all of his hairs stood up. He saw that there was something painted on the opposite wall from the one that he had been painting. His heart was absolutely pounding as he walked up to the writing, and this is where he saw that the paint was still wet and dripping down the wall. The paintbrush he had been using was exactly where he left it, and there wasn't any paint on the floor. The words just said, "I am here." He of course got out of there as quickly as possible, and when he told his boyfriend later, he just kind of dismissed it. A few months go by and Dreamguy and his boyfriend get home after a long day of both of them being out of the house all day. Dreamguy heads to the shower to get ready for bed, and as he's in the shower, he hears the bathroom door open and close. He of course just assumes it's his boyfriend, and he's rinsing the conditioner out of his hair when he asks his boyfriend if he is joining him in the shower, and that's when he hears the response, "Sounds good to me," but it is not his boyfriend's voice. He then feels ice-cold hands grab his shoulders and spin him around as he opens his eyes to see that no one else is there. He of course bolts it out of the bathroom, and he's now in the front room trying to catch his breath when he sees his boyfriend shaking, pointing to the bathroom, saying he saw it go in there. It's safe to say that Dreamguy didn't live there for much longer, and I am very glad he made it out of this apartment and lived to tell the tale. In our number 3 spot today, we have this lady ghost demon story. This story comes from the Reddit user 7-Leg Spider, and they really just dive in. Basically, for several years, Spider saw what they thought was just a lady ghost every night at the door of the closet. It happened for so long that Spider just got used to it and even started saying goodnight to her. Spider says she didn't look bad or rotten, she was just a lady with pale skin and dark hair. Anyway, after a few years of this, Spider finally tells a friend at school about the lady. This friend, of course, didn't believe the story right away, but the next day at school, he tells Spider that this lady tried to hurt him while he was sleeping. Now, Spider didn't believe the friend and thought he was just playing a prank. Some more time goes by and Spider decides to tell another friend about the lady, and the same thing happens where the next day she comes and tells Spider that the lady had tried to hurt her while she was sleeping. The first friend and the second friend didn't even know each other, so it's not like they could have been conspiring, which made Spider believe his first friend was telling the truth. Then, a while after that, Spider is on a video chat with a friend and they're talking about the paranormal when they both see something run across the screen. They chalk it up to just being a computer glitch, and Spider starts telling his friend about the lady, and then Spider begins to get extremely dizzy, like they're going to pass out. After it goes away, Spider tells their friend that they're okay, and the friend replies that they were out of it for at least a full minute, and that he could feel that someone was there trying to hurt Spider. I'm really glad that Spider and all the friends ended up being okay, and I really hope that they found a way to get rid of this lady demon. In our number 2 spot today, we have Zozo. This story comes from Reddit user Archaic Alchemy, who we'll call A. When A was 22, they were staying with their sister, and one night they had a couple of good friends over to hang out, and they decided to play around with a Ouija board, which is always the start of a good demon story. A had read about people encountering an entity called Zozo, and A really wanted some proof that things exist beyond our physical realm, so they wanted to use the Ouija board. Everyone places their hands on the planchette, and A calls out to Zozo. It took a few attempts before anything happened, but then the planchette began to move in figure eights. No matter what was asked, it just kept moving in figure eights until it finally spelled out M-A-M-A. That's us, we're MA. Maybe they were talking about our channel. A kept asking who they were talking to, and eventually they spelled out Zozo, and then things really escalated. The planchette was taken to the letters to spell out kill you. And when A asked who, Zozo spelled out one of the friends' names. They didn't take it seriously and kept asking more questions, and one friend made the mistake of insulting Zozo. The planchette begins frantically moving through the alphabet backwards over and over before it just stops. Then the energy in the room completely drops, and A knows that this means Zozo has manifested itself. Suddenly, A begins to laugh maniacally with no control over it. A could feel Zozo's presence inside and could feel Zozo turning all of this hatred and anger towards the friend that had been named before. A's emotions suddenly completely switch and they begin crying uncontrollably before again suddenly snapping back to anger. A's head turns involuntarily to look at the friend with a menacing grin as A pushes the planchette towards the friend. The friend decides it's rightfully time to leave, and shortly after they left, A felt like they regained control and Zozo's presence had disappeared. I'm so glad that nothing even crazier happened and that Zozo wasn't able to harm this friend. In our number 1 spot today, we have Velgrod. This story comes from the Reddit user Wheezy Donkey. Since he was a child, he's had interactions with a demon he knows as Velgrod. He first noticed the demon during the night as he was trying to fall asleep. It would continue saying his name quietly over and over again. This happened about once a month on a random night as he was trying to fall asleep, and he tried to ignore it, but every time it happened, the voice was a little louder because it was getting closer. One Friday night, he heard the voice and realized it was right at the end of his bed. He was frozen in fear, and every other night, if he waited long enough, the demon would just leave, but this time it wasn't happening. He found a lot of courage and lifted the blanket to inspect what he hoped was just his overactive imagination, but what he saw was too real for him to believe it was just imagination. This creature was tall and lanky with the yellow eyes of a reptile. His eyes were also bulging and very far apart. The creature apparently appeared as though he had been burned all over his body as he had charred and blistered skin. When the creature opened its mouth, it revealed its long lizard-like tongue that descended to its chest. In his right hand, he had a cane he was using to keep himself from falling over, but the cane was covered in barbed wire. In his other hand, Velgrod was holding the Bible that was on the nightstand. When he held the Bible up into the air, it was immediately engulfed in flames that left nothing but ash. Velgrod kept eye contact the entire time as he used his foot to spread the ashes across the floor in a certain pattern, at the same time hissing menacingly. Velgrod then turned and began to walk away towards the door and down the stairs. Wheezy Donkey sat frozen with fear for a while before working up the courage to inspect the ash on the floor. When he finally did, he saw that the ash spelled out, "Hell is below you." Ooh, that was creepy.